Hello and welcome to another episode of Elves, Rings, and Nerdy Things. We are tallying fourth with season 3 of Legend of Vox Machina. Sam, how are you?
I'm good. I was saying before the recording that I'm tired, but that's not a bad thing.
Because of your lactic acid buildup?
Call it that, or just getting choked out consistently twice a week. I went to jujitsu on Saturday, and the entire 90 minutes was just just different kinds of chokes. And I came back and I couldn't move my neck. I couldn't turn my head.
It's a good thing this isn't a kink podcast.
Oh yeah. Oh, maybe we get some more listeners.
Yeah, maybe we would.
All right, but we're not here to talk about sore necks and jujitsu. We're here to talk about the Legend of Vox Machina.
Yeah, we are on episode 4 of season 3. Last episode was a lot of exposition and kind of build up to where we're at in this episode. In this episode, we go to the hells of Despeth.
Yes, so this episode is titled Hell to Pay. The Everlight warns Pike about the dangers of the hells of Despeth. Disguised by Scanlan, Vox Machina explores the city near the portal. Pike feels an entity reaching out to her. When their disguises fail, she leads them to the Tower of Xerxes, a collector, and his massive demonic bodyguard, Yank. Xerxes reveals the vestige was lost in a wager. Pike agrees to a high-stakes card game enforced by a magical contract. If she wins, the Dawn Martyr is hers. If she loses, she becomes his eternal servant. During the game, players must truthfully answer a question or incur a magical penalty. Xerxes manipulates Pike's insecurities about her bond with the Everlight, causing her to reveal her card's location. As a result, Xerxes wins, enslaving Pike. Determined, she challenges him to a rematch, wagering her friend's souls for her freedom and the vestige. Pike turns Xerxes's tactics against him, prompting him to reveal his own emotional conflicts. Seemingly gracious in defeat, he grants Pike the Dawn Martyr and gives them a token to deter other creatures as they leave. Secretly, Xerxes feels satisfied, believing he has weakened Pike's bond with the Everlight. He then instructs Yank to pursue and leave only Pike alive. Sean, what did you think of this episode?
I thought it was a very fun episode.
Yeah.
Being able to see the hells, seeing what their version of torture and torment looks like
Mm-hmm.
in that D&D realm, I thought was pretty cool. The shape shifting into demons for the party, I think was pretty funny. I liked the different looks that they came up with for each character.
Oh,
I did have go
the
ahead.
Grog's first version was like a giant bunny, right? Like it was.
Yeah, with a bow on
I
its head.
yeah, I love how they can go so quickly between the humor of that and then just like brutal scenes of souls being devoured and people in agony.
Hmm.
It was effective.
I had one question for the difference between the hells of Critical Role and the
Hmm.
hells of Wizards of the Coast D&D.
Okay.
So this episode made it seem like demons and devils coexist in the hells.
Yes.
And 5th edition, or I guess all editions D&D, demons and devils hate each other, are in a perpetual blood war.
Yes.
So I thought that was interesting, an interesting take on them cohabitating. I did like that there was still kind of this social hierarchy between them,
Hmm.
because Xerxes the devil, all of the demons were afraid of him. So
Hmm.
to me, there still seemed to be like that, a slight bit of that dynamic. But I was wondering if it was more of like a rights issue on how they portrayed it, or because Wizards of the Coast has basically accepted Critical Role into their pantheon, more or less. Like they're publishing.
Yes, but there are certain things that Vox Machina seemingly does not have the rights to. So, like the gods, for instance, and this might even be a like Matt Mercer versus whoever owns the rights to those particular gods. So, the Everlight is Oh my God, what's the actual name for the Everlight? It was now I can't remember. I used to know this, but like the matron of ravens was just a reskin of the Raven Queen, which is the Wizard of
Hmm.
the Coast entity, who's that similar god. I think the Dawn Martyr has a different name in the Wizards of the Coast lore. I mean, I have the books right over here. I could just go and grab them. Are you looking it up?
No, I'm not.
No? Okay.
I'm
Well,
letting you just fumble through
but yeah,
it.
I was like, oh, it'll come to me. It'll come to me. I'm like, no, you're so tired, you idiot. It's not going to come to you. Speaking, real quick aside, Facebook memories and things like that come up now and then.
Oh, you got one of our first D&D campaign?
7 years ago, we were sitting around the table in your parents' room playing D&D, and like I'm DMing and you're sitting at the opposite end of the table, and Carly and Haley are there, and I'm pretty sure Boog is like out of frame. But yeah, it was 7 years ago, which
Those were the days.
they were the days. It's nuts. Anyway, so it's unclear. It could be a rights issue where they have the. I don't think there's been anything that has I don't think any proper nouns or names have been used that are explicitly the property of Wizards of the Coast. It seems like they don't have permission for those things. I wonder if those are covered under some sort of other license where Vox Machina couldn't get them, or they just chose not to because it'd be so expensive to get the license. Because even like Despath is, well, they say Dis, don't they?
Hmm. The
But
city of Dis.
But the thing is, dis might actually be a just a term from like Dante. Have you read Dante's Inferno?
Yeah, long time
Okay.
ago.
Is dis something? Because that's where all of the not all, but a lot of the kind of imagery of the hells comes from is Dante's Inferno.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a not pop culture term, but a culture term. I don't know if
Okay.
is that the right.
A pop culture term from the Renaissance. Yeah, so they change things where they can. They use terminology that is reminiscent of some of the things that are under license. I picked up on that as well, though, the fact that okay, we're kind of just all talking about demons and devils in the same way, and there is a hierarchy, and I'm not going to get torn up about it. I think the Blood War, I mean, the Blood War is cool, but it's also this thing of they're not going to take the time to explain what that is and that it's this is about Vox Machina, not about the Blood War. Um, Now, what I don't remember is in the live play if Yank was a demon or a devil. I think. Do you?
I thought in this one they said devil bodyguard because I was watching it with the captions on.
Mm, okay. Yeah, but that was cool. I was like, oh, I like because I was explaining to Haley as we were watching. I was like, in the live play, like this, and this happened, and I was like, oh, there's Yank. That's funny. Like that was the character that I was referencing to her before he appeared on the show. But yeah, so we get Yank. Xerxes is completely made up, right? There was no.
No, he is
Oh.
from one of the miniseries that they did
Ah.
called Calamity.
Oh, so his backstory is something that they've.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
So if you want to know everything about Xerxes, you watch, I think it's like the 3 or 4 episode miniseries called Calamity that they came out
Okay,
with. And his character is completely fleshed out. He tells the backstory in this episode, his backstory. He saw the downfall of the world, the Age of Arcanum. He was with an adventuring party or a group of friends who were all kind of trying to stop the end of the world from happening. Everything that he tells in that like 45-second backstory dump
yeah.
is basically the entire plot line of Calamity. So if you watch that and you really liked the Xerxes character, you should watch Calamity because it's
Yeah.
very, very good. And it's the same voice actor who voices
Oh,
him in Calamity, voices him in this show.
who's the actor?
Luis, I don't remember his last name. Give me 1 second.
Wait, this is a mini series of the. It was like a live play mini series.
Yeah,
Oh, and
it was
the voice actor was the person who portrayed him in the.
in the Critical Role show.
That's cool. I didn't know that. That's great. Okay.
Luis Carrazzo.
Luis Carrazzo. Okay.
And that Calamity is DM'd or GM'd by Brennan Lee Mulligan from Dimension 20.
Okay. Didn't he also play? Brandon Lee Mulligan, was he a character in the second campaign, like a guest character?
I don't know, but he was also in their Candela Obscura. He
That's right.
was a character in that too. But very good.
Okay.
Really like
Um,
Xerxes.
yeah, no, Xerxes was fun. I think I love the Calamity stuff. It's just such a fun, I think this is a Matt Colville idea, but like every D&D world has to have this deep history of like some civilization that was this just height of magic and power, and everything since then is kind of degraded somewhat, even if you still have kind of fantastical elements. It's not as advanced as it used to be, and I love like the floating cities thing is just such an easy way of communicating that.
Mhm.
And then, so let me ask you more about this backstory. So the final lines that we have Xerxes say when he instructs Yank to pursue them and kill everybody but Pike is like, I think, what do you say? We are his blood,
Mhm.
right? Which is a reference to Vecna.
And then he says something about his ascension is near.
Yeah, which is talking about Vecna becoming a god, basically, which is what happened in the live play. But he also talks about joining a betrayer god, right? It was a betrayer god who elevated Xerxes to a demon lord or devil lord or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
during the events of Calamity.
do we know what betrayer god it was?
They do because he. So in Calamity, the gods are
Real,
like
right? Like walking on
characters.
the earth. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I can give you. I think it's Asmodeus.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay,
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Asmodeus.
okay.
But yeah, it's great, and I really like the card game. I thought the whole
Hmm.
idea of like a devil trying to trick you versus like lawful evil means of like strict rules and
Hmm. Hmm.
all of that. I thought that was really entertaining. But yeah, I don't know. This whole episode was basically broken down to into them getting to Xerxes, the game, and then that's it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
and
we don't get much of material plane in this one.
no, yeah. Do we get any flashbacks to just
There's
one?
one yeah, there's one scene of them escaping the cave and basically saying, "Where's Kima?"
That's right.
And then that's it
That just sets up the action for the next episode
for the next
primarily.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, I was watching Haley and I watched this one together, and I was surprised. Haley was like, "This is really cool." Like just a lot of just the plot and also how things were portrayed. So like the magical chairs that the other
Hmm.
party members are sitting in, and how they get restrained, and well, at one point like their blood gets taken outright because they become part of the contract. Pike
Hmm.
wagers their souls. That was fun. Yeah, it was a good episode. I don't think there were any moments it's like, oh, that could have been done better. It was just some of the stuff in the approach to Xerxes's tower was like just really brutal. But there's like they found somebody who was like being eaten alive, and they try to get her, and she starts screaming, then everybody starts screaming, right? There's like isn't a bunch of people in a tree. That was a
Yeah, and
pretty.
Scanlan, they even have he like fails a concentration check.
Yes,
He
yes.
can't pay attention to what the spell when all the screaming is going on. So I thought that was a cool use of D&D
Hmm.
rules in the
Hmm.
show. Um, Keyleth trying to uh, fit in as a demon, grabbing the weird demon slug thing and biting it, and then she throws up in her hands as
Yeah,
she's walking away.
yeah.
I thought that was pretty good. Uh, they just do a really good job of the character development from the campaign really
Hmm.
shows in the writing and animation of this show. And
Hmm.
yeah, it was all really, really good.
Yeah, I was having memories of when they go to the Hells later on, and you had Terry and Darrington like eating those soul coins, right?
Mm.
Which were actually people's soul. And he starts like throwing up or whatever. Yeah, it was good. All right, anything else to say about this episode?
I've got nothing. This was a
Okay.
great episode in and of itself. I had a really good time with it, and I'm very excited to talk about the next episode
Oh yeah.
because this is very much a Godzilla versus Mothra let them fight moment.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I was wondering. Well, we'll talk about it when we talk about it. All right, everybody.
You've been listening to Elves, Rings, and Nerdy Things. You can follow us on Facebook, Elves, Rings, and Nerdy Things. We have a podcast group, Elves, Rings, and Nerdy Things Podcast. You can email us at elvesringsnerdythings@gmail.com, and we have new episodes that come out almost weekly, unless we get busy. And we will be back next week, continuing The Legend of Vox Machina with episode 5.
Bye, everybody.